أهلا وسهلا فيكم ببدوي كريبتو.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system.
بالسنة الماضية شفنا فومو كتير كبير على مجال الميم كوينز. هيدي السنة عم نشهد هالفومو عم ينتقل على ال AI agents أو عملاء الذكاء الاصطناعي. اليوم عنا مقابلة مع مسؤول تنفيذي بمشروع ايجنت لاير، مشروع بنى تحتية لل AI agents أو عملاء الذكاء الاصطناعي. اليوم رح نحكي معه عن خارطة طريق المشروع وشو لازم نتوقع من هالمشروع بالمستقبل. قبل ما نبدأ اعملوا لايك، اعملوا سبسكرايب وخلينا نبلش. Hello everyone. Today we have Matthew, an executive with Agent Layer. Hello Matthew, how are you?
Good. Happy to be here.
Very nice to have you here. Thank you for joining. Today we're going to talk about Agent Layer. So for our audience who may not be familiar with the project, can you briefly explain what Agent Layer is and what key problems it aims to solve?
Yeah, for sure. So overall, Agent Layer is a platform where developers come and build and then deploy AI agents, and consumers come and pay for the services offered by these AI agents. And I would say overall, the key problem we are trying to solve is that we notice that developers and businesses all have these really innovative ideas in the Web3 space, but they hit roadblocks, things with scalability, lack of interoperability, as well as like user adoption issues, right? And so I think this is even more so the case with something new like AI and finding strong use cases for it. So we thought to ourselves, how can we create a platform to kind of bridge these gaps? And so overall, like our big idea, big picture vision is to kind of address these bottlenecks in the ecosystem and open the door for truly scalable and user-friendly decentralized apps powered by AI.
Okay. Now, so you're pretty much the infrastructure that people use to build AI agents, correct?
Yeah, I'd say that's a big part of it. I think another big part of it is like the consumer facing side of that as well. Like we want not only the developers to come and build, but also we want like consumers to come and use the things that they build through us. So kind of like a platform marketplace as well. Yeah.
That's great. Look, the AI agent is, I think, they're gonna be the flavor of the year. To be honest, last year was the meme coins. This year is the AI agent. Now, my question is, in such a highly competitive space, what sets you apart? What differentiates Agent Layer from other projects that are filling the place nowadays?
Yeah. So in general, I think like what we're trying to build around is, like I said earlier, focusing on like scalability and efficiency of AI agents. So we have this thing called Agent OS, which unlike traditional systems, which often rely on like very centralized infrastructure, we integrate like off-chain services with on-chain operations. So that really allows like the AI agents to kind of flourish and function in a very distributed and decentralized ecosystem. And then we also combine this, of course, with AI, right? So large language models and getting the information and keeping it efficient as well. So yeah, I'd say those are kind of the big differentiators on kind of the technical level. And of course, I would like to shout out our community. I think our community is great, very involved, very supportive. So I do consider that a differentiator, and we hope that we can continue to build our community and strengthen what we're offering in 2025.
Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. Are there any exciting updates coming? And since you're talking about 2025, so I was going to ask you this later, but since you're talking about 2025, I thought I'll jump the gun a bit. Is there any launches, listing, anything that any alpha you can give us for the community?
Yeah, for sure. So I think definitely when it comes to listing, like there's news coming very soon. I don't think I can exactly say where we're listing yet, but there's going to be a lot of like very large tier one exchanges this year.
Right, so
and actually,
just to stop you there,
yeah.
what you're saying, a lot of so more than one tier one exchange?
More than one, yes. Yeah, more than one. And yeah, there will be like an official, like, I guess, news about this by the end of this month, so you won't have to wait long. Maybe like when this is published, it'll already be out. I'm not sure, but yes, that is in the works, and there will be more than that throughout the year. I think our goal really is to, in 2025, at least one of the big ones is to get it out on lots of tier one exchanges across the world, right? Make it accessible and for everybody, really. So that's definitely one of the big things. The second big thing is we're also launching this thing called Pump Agent, which is like a very revolutionary trading protocol and launchpad specifically built for AI agents. And so kind of like our vision again is where like developers can easily launch their own AI agent token as well as the AI agent itself through this thing called like an initial agent offering. So you can think of it as being like very similar to like an initial coin offering or IPO, things like that. And where there's basically like an AI agent token that's paired with the agent token itself, right? So we create very robust liquidity pools, and we're very much so like stabilizing the trading ecosystem, right? And trying to fuel innovation on top of this, right? Because this way the developers are incentivized to create AI agents because they have some sort of monetary incentive, whereas the people that are backing these, right, they expect these AI agents to do well. And so if they do well in the future, then obviously they get a nice return on their initial investment. So it kind of creates this very nice ecosystem where both developers and investors can thrive. And then more so on like the technical side of things, like I mentioned earlier, there's like the Agent OS layer, but there's also like Agent Studio. So that kind of gives a whole suite of tools, makes it very easy for enterprises to leverage and harness the power of AI and be able to make and deploy these AI agents with very little coding involved. And with all the access to the things that AI is best at, right? Like interpreting various different inputs like images, code, just text even, right? Connecting that with external APIs and information, and providing that as input to allow the AI to provide better responses and do more things, right? So I think all of these things are very exciting, and will be coming in 2025. So
That's really good to hear. Now, a question: something you just mentioned about the new platform that you're launching that helps launch AI. Do you do any tutorials, anything like that, on how to use that? And if so, I would love to work with you on an Arabic version of that.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, I think definitely like, one of the plans we have, this year is like to kind of expand our reach and also like accessibility of not just the token, but like our content and as well as like our, tutorials and onboarding developers in various different regions, and allowing them to kind of get involved with us at the earlier stages. So definitely would love to take you up on that offer. And yeah, we can definitely make some tutorials together.
Because I've been noticing, Leslie, with my community, is a lot of people are interested in not just in the investing in crypto, and which is great, of course. Like everyone likes making money. Of course, I'm assuming you do too. So
Yeah,
everyone likes
yeah.
that. But as well, there are people that want to develop. They want to develop themselves. They want to develop thing. And I believe when you develop within the community, that community starts growing, because if each person teaches one person, it'll start becoming like a ripple effect, and it'll grow their knowledge, it'll grow everything. So having that, even though the things they do is in English, but having that tutorial or how to build your AI agents in Arabic, just showing them step by step or walking them through, I think is key. And I would love to be part of that, because it's educational and I love educating people and helping them out. And in the same process, I'll be learning as well. So that if you have something like that, once again, I'm offering my services because I would love to be part of it.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, we're definitely on board for that. We can definitely follow up. I'll tell the team about it after this. So
Done. All right. So let's talk a bit about your token. What agent token? What utility does that have? Recently, the price action hasn't been the best, but let's start with the utility token. What's the utility of it, and where do you see it later on?
yeah, so I think overall, like we want it to be kind of the currency by which you interface with like AI agents, right? And so, like I mentioned earlier, developers come, right? They build these AI agents, and then like these AI agents can function in various different scenarios, right? So like imagine I built an AI agent that will basically access your calendar as well as like a budget, and then decide like, oh, what's the best price for a plane ticket for you to travel somewhere, for example, and then it'll actually just execute on it and be able to purchase it on your behalf, right? And that's kind of like a personal assistant, right? So having that um, available is like one of many different use cases for AI agents, right? And so the token is then something that, like, as the consumer, you would use to pay to access the AI agent, right? And so it really is kind of the fundamental thing that runs the entire ecosystem. And then, but aside from that, of course, so that's purely transactional. When it comes to things like network security, we have node operators, right? They participate in staking and validating things in the process and securing the platform. And then aside from that, there's various other mechanisms involved with the token, such as like a burn mechanism, right? We introduced this a couple of months ago, where basically every month, around 25% of our protocol revenue is used to burn like the agent token, right? So that ends up reducing the supply, and of course, more scarcity usually means higher token value, right, over time. And so to date, we've already burned around at 1.5 million agent tokens, hopefully more in the future. And that'll drive the prices up. And yeah, I know like right now the price isn't the highest, but I think when we did introduce the burn mechanism a few months ago, I think that's when it hit the all-time high, which is about like 4 times higher than the initial kind of value that it was at. And it's still quite a bit above that, but definitely in 2025 we want it to go parabolic, hopefully. So
now the burning mechanism, it comes through because we noticed your circulating supply is very low, and that's one of the things that people get scared about. They see low circulating supply compared to you're around 30% at the moment. Investors have certain concerns. Now the burning happens through that, or you have a separate treasury?
Yeah, it's through that. So I think like in general, like basically overall the reason why like it's pretty low is because like I think we have like a mechanism and strategy involved where we're steadily like releasing more tokens, right, over time, because we don't want to like dump too many out there and then just like tank the price of it, right? We want to make sure that it's happened steadily over time, but also we want to make sure that like investors are comfortable with us doing this and thinking that and like understanding that there's no like manipulation and bad practices going on with something like this, right? So it's definitely a concern, which is why we've begun to introduce various mechanisms to kind of improve the price, but also hopefully improve trust and confidence in us that this will do well. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where I think time will tell, and I think that we're doing a lot of different things to kind of boost up the price of the token, but also like make sure that we're actually building things that for the long term where people will find real utility in something like this. And if there's real utility, I think the price will naturally follow as well.
100%. Utility, everything else follows. So utility is key. There's one thing that you mentioned earlier. The AI agent will be like in the future, there will be the interface that people interact with. Today I was on my live show actually discussing this specific subject. I said that the AI agent will be the interface that people will start using instead of using everything else. Because at the moment, the main problem of crypto is it's not user friendly. Whether we like it or not, it's not. Like when I want to connect MetaMask, I want to connect Phantom Wallet, I want to connect this, that, you changing networks. I want to buy this token which is not listed on an exchange. Like, for the average, for us degens, we say it's normal. Like, yeah, we love this. Like, it's part of our daily routine. But for the average viewer or the average person, I was like, my dad or my mom or your dad or your mom should be able to buy whatever they want whenever they want. And that's where an AI agent comes. And I noticed that could be something. That's where I was interested in that, in the technology, because I think it will be that user face.
Yes. No, I 100% agree. I think it's one of those things like where if you think about it right now, like, if I have a phone, right, I use my phone for a lot of things. And it would be like the equivalent of having a phone for every like app that I have. Like I have one app on this phone, I have an app on this phone, right? And I have like 30 different phones, right? That's kind of what it's like right now. I have a bunch of different wallets at a bunch of different places that do a bunch of different things. And yeah, I think for the average person, very difficult to figure out what to do with that. And I agree. I think in general, like right now, we use computers, we use phones, but maybe 10 years from now, they still exist, but everything will be powered through AI, right? So I don't have to type anything. I don't have to do anything. I can just, tell it what I want it to do and it'll do it. And I think, yeah, definitely in the case of like trading and purchasing things, certainly I can see that being a strong use case. And I think in theory, like, the technology is there already to enable people to do that. But I think there's still a couple of roadblocks at the moment
Of course, of
addressed,
course.
and hopefully we're the ones to do that. So.
No, 100%. Community is key in crypto. I've always said that community is what builds. You can see what happened with XRP today with some of the news. I think XRP has one of the strongest communities, whether you like the project or not, whatever. But as a community, it withstood laws, rules, regulations, court cases, whatever, and the community is still there. So community builds any project, whether it takes it up or it takes it down. Now, I know you're growing your community. What plans do you have for the MENA region specifically for the within the agent layers direction?
Yeah. So definitely lots of plans there. But I think first, like, I definitely need to offer a sincere thank you for everybody involved. I definitely agree 100%. Like, without the community, most Web3 projects would not be around, and I think certainly we would not be anywhere near as early successful. Right, still early, but I say we're doing relatively well, and definitely would not be here without the community. So definitely sincere thank you there. But yeah, moving forward, I think in the MENA regions, there's a couple ideas we have in place for this, and I think, like, kind of we just talked about it a bit earlier, is like making it so that it's easier for people to access our content, and like developers to be able to get involved with what we're doing. So that means, like, translating to various different languages, collaborating with local influencers, such as yourself, right, in local languages. I think those are the things that makes it a lot easier and lowers those barriers to entry for people to understand what we're doing and get involved, more importantly, with what we're doing. So I think that's the biggest focus. Um, and yeah, I think in general, just focusing there, and then of course, like when it comes to trading, the agent token, making it more accessible in these areas as well. I think those things combined together, really do a lot, right? And helping us get our foot in the door in these areas, and then working with the people there to expand further. So definitely have plans for that, and yeah, stay tuned.
If you need any help in the UAE side of things, if access regulations, stuff like that, just let me know. I'm more than happy to support there.
Great.
I would recommend one thing though. I would recommend building some sort of Arabic communities through Telegram or Twitter or something like that, just to communicate the messages in the Arabic language. Arabic is the third most spoken language in the world. There's over 450 million people that speak it. You have the English, business language of the world, obviously. Then you have Mandarin, which is in China. Arabic is after that. There's Spanish or Arabic. I can't remember which one, but it's in the top 4, let's call it, languages, and it's growing. So that's one of the key things that we have. So I believe it's one of the key demographic that you should focus on, and that
definitely
converting your messages would work really well.
Yes, perfect. No, I totally agree, and I think I'd love to collaborate with you in some way to do that.
I'm happy
and I think
to do that.
That'd be great. Wonderful.
Not a problem. All right. Could you highlight some of the AI agents that you have on your platform? First of all, actually, if you could tell me roughly, you probably don't know off the top of your head, how many AI agents or projects are on your platform, and how many users you have as well? Do you know rough estimate?
So I think
numbers?
the user number changes pretty often, but it's quite high. I think like there's around 4 million registered wallets. I don't know if all of them like obviously use it often, but that's the number. And I think there are around 10 AI agents at the moment, which is not that many. But each one is quite useful, and I'll talk a bit about some of them. But I think the big picture is that, like, a lot of these AI agents right now are made by us, right? Like, not a lot of all of them. Whereas, like, we're pushing out things like I talked about earlier, like the agent OS and things like that will enable developers to create these AI agents and deploy them and have some sort of monetary incentive tied to these things. And I hope that in 2025, like, the top AI agents that are being used on our platform are not made by us, but made by other people, right? That's kind of the ultimate goal that we have with respect to that. And basically there's, of the ones that we have now, there's a couple that are pretty popular. Like one of them is called Sentinel. Basically it's like a conversational AI agent, designed around like security on the blockchain. And so it'll like basically automatically like monitor on-chain transactions for suspicious activities, look at your wallet, things like that, right? And make sure that potential threats are basically negated, right? So that one I think is the most popular one so far. It's been used like over 2 million times to date, and it's great. And then aside from that, there's other things that are more like involved with trading. Like we had talked a little bit about this earlier, where ideally, like anyone can buy anything without having to go through all these hurdles, right? And kind of we're working towards this a bit. So we have like a Telegram bot where you can just tell it, hey, like I want to do this or I want to do that for making transactions, and it'll go ahead and do it for like relatively simple ones, like predicting Bitcoin or ETH price trends and making trades like that. But nothing kind of beyond that at the moment. We'd love to make it more comprehensive, of course. And so I think that's kind of some of the things that we're working on personally within the company. But I think, like I said earlier, main goal is to kind of allow the developers to do this kind of stuff for any type of use case, within crypto, outside of crypto. And so hopefully those tools will be available soon for people to do that.
So, do you need to be like a full developer to be able to build your own AI, or with your new toolkits when it launches, an average person can do it as well?
So I think there's kind of two ways I view this, right? So basically, the like short-term answer is yes. But I think as with anything like this, like the reality is that if you don't know how to code, then like you are somewhat limited in what you can produce, right? And like because no code, low code stuff has been around for a long time, but the things that you can do with it is always going to be more restricted compared to like what you can do
100%.
with actual coding skills. And so, but that being said, like I think there are definitely still plenty of use cases where somebody can come and make these things without much coding experience and have it be useful, right? I think ultimately it comes down to like are the tools that we have enough for somebody that has little experience coding to make something that is valuable enough that people actually come and use it and pay for it? And I think the answer to that is yes. But I also think that the higher potential ones will require significant developer
Coding.
oversight and work put into it. But they'll also, if done well, I think will be much more powerful and game changing, and generate more revenue. So I think that's kind of what I think at the moment.
No, 100%. Look, your vision is similar to. I've done an interview recently to a company based in America and Canada. So I think it's in the gaming AI side of things. It's called Altura. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I think I have, yeah.
So the project is similar, but for the gaming. So they want to do the infrastructure where they make developer use the AI in a simple way to build games. And you're doing it for the agents. They're doing it for the gaming side of things.
Yes.
Very similar. And I love these plays. They're the infrastructure plays that will help develop. If successful, obviously no one knows 100% what's going to happen, but if successful, they'll help, and it'll be more powerful because you're not linked to one AI agent. You're not linked to one game. You're infrastructure for all of them. So that is a very good play, very good place to be. Hopefully wish you all the best, obviously, and hopefully you succeed. I just want to ask about, we spoke about the token burning, which is you already mentioned. How do you envision the future of the AI agent in the next, like, let's call it 5 years? First of all, let's say in next year, and then 2025, and then the next 5 years. Where do you see it going?
Yeah. So I guess I'll give a little context first. So previously, like prior to this, like many years ago when I was in college, I was like basically involved with this project that went through Y Combinator. So like one of the most prestigious accelerators, and then eventually got acquired. But I bring this up because basically the founder of that was a high school classmate of mine. That's how I got involved with it. And he right now recently raised $100 million, so a lot of money, for a startup called Decagon, which is building AI agents for customer support. And so I bring this up because basically at the moment, to be completely honest, I think there are a lot of like potential for AI agents, but I don't see like very useful utility beyond like a very small limited areas where like basically the skill level of AI it is not there, right? That's the reason why it can't be applied to everything. Like I think the long-term play, like in 5, 10 years, I think they can basically do anything, right? So whatever a human can do, whether it's coding, marketing, anything,
Which is
personal
scary
assistants,
as
right?
well. Which
Yeah,
is
it's
scary.
it's it's a bit scary, and I think like I think that is definitely going to happen at some point. I don't know how long it will take, but it is definitely going to be a while. Because if I look at where they are now, and I look at like the infrastructure and the technology that supports AI right now, I don't think it's possible. And so unless there is some sort of fundamental shift in how AI works on a technological level, then it won't happen, right? So I think it will happen eventually, but I don't know when. But I definitely know that like given where it's at now, it can still do plenty of useful things. Like that's why there's such a big focus in things like customer support, where you have like clearly defined problems and solutions, right? Like you could basically take like if you had a product, let's say you're like Amazon, right, or a service, then basically any problem that can happen for like shipping something or getting lost or whatever, all of this can be kind of uh, boxed into some sort of constraint, right? There's a lot of different scenarios, but it's like solvable, right? Whereas like let's say I'm coding something and I run into a problem, then like it's kind of like a black box. Like it could be thousands of different things that could be wrong, and I need to find the exact one. And that's why it's so much harder to do that for the AI. And so I think like for the more simple like constrained problems, then basically AI can start to solve these, and that's what we'll start to see in the next year or so, and maybe 2 or 3 years. And I think that ideally within like the next 5 to 10 years, it starts to solve more of the black box, less constrained types of problems, and that's when it'll be very very useful, but also a little bit scary as well. So that's kind of my take on the situation. Yeah.
Look, I'll give it an example, like call centers. Yeah, you probably have a lot in America. We have a lot in and where I'm living in Australia, like telecommunication, insurance, all those call centers. You gotta. So there's all the people on the other side of the line, which is usually overseas. They're all well, they follow a script. So is this your problem? This is the answer. This is a problem. This can be fully replaced. This call center as a whole will be
Yes.
replaced. And
Yep.
for the out of the box problems, we'll contact you later on. So the actual real call center will be like very quarter of what it is now. And the rest will be solved with AI agent because it's specific problems like you were mentioning. I'm having this problem. Boom. All right. This is the solution in a way. So it'll be customizable and easily managed. So it is great. I can see the developments happening. Like even Mark Zuckerberg, he's all in on AI. Recently, he went up. He goes
Yes.
like, I see in the next few years, all the mid-level engineers are going to be replaced with AI.
Yeah, potentially.
I was like, wow, like that's that's like wow. So you leave the cream of the crop. You know, the top end, yes. The rest, the mid to lower end, it can be replaced with AI, which is, to be honest, I was like really impressed by that. Like it's happening
Yeah.
so fast, and with quantum computing coming from the next few years, that will be awesome.
Yeah, be a nice combo. Yeah, I think what's interesting is, I mean, this is a bit off topic, but like there's like a recent study by Stanford about like I think it was quote unquote ghost engineers, but there's like a lot of engineers at these big tech companies that like do nothing or close to nothing. So I don't think it's because I know plenty of like lower level or like students even mid-level engineers that are brilliant and do great work, and they're only lower mid-level because they're too young, right, to be senior. But there are a lot of engineers, like I would say, I mean, the study said 10% of these engineers do less than 10% of like what a normal engineer would do. Right. And so basically they do nothing and they collect a very fat paycheck. I actually think the number is higher than that because I have friends that work, at places like Google, Amazon, and I have heard stories, many of them, where like for example, like just about a month ago, one of them said that there was an engineer. She had 7 years of experience, and didn't know like these basic like Git commands, and was working on the wrong branch. And so for people that are non-technical, I'm trying to find like a good way of explaining this. This would be like having a career in something for 7 years and not knowing like the basics of how it works, like stuff that you learn on like day 1 or day 2. That's like the equivalent of how
imagine you're a surgeon and don't know how to read an X-ray. So
simple. That's literally, that's a good one. Yeah. So So basically, like, I'm to your point. I think that I would not be surprised because a lot of these people are not doing anything to begin with. So obviously, having AI replace them is a win-win. But I also think, like I was talking about earlier, there are levels to coding and engineering specifically where it is very difficult, I think, for the AI to be able to solve these issues unless you can give it like all of the information available, and then in that case, like the context very, very large, and then it becomes very, very expensive and difficult for it to kind of take all that information and do something with it. So I think still, like, I hope at least that engineers aren't going to be fully replaced anytime soon, but I do think that definitely some of the people that are not doing anything to begin with should be replaced. Yeah.
No, I agree. And there's a lot of them. Like I remember when, again, Elon Musk bought Twitter, half of the staff, he sacked, like, I don't know, 70% of the staff, and still Twitter operated fine. I was like, how many people do you?
Because they were doing nothing anyway. So that's why. Yeah. So
that's a story for a different time. All right, let me finish it off with the question about agent by itself, because obviously the followers all are interested in the price. Where do you see it? Again, I know non-financial advice. Where do you see the price of agent end of the year?
So I mean, in general, so right now it's around like 5 cents, I believe, and I think for sure, like, our goal, like, at least I can safely say my goal for this is to be at $1. All right, so like a 20x return. But of course, like, I would say even if we got up to 10 or 5 times that, okay, that's already pretty good. Like, what else can you invest in that would give you those types of returns in a year? But again, like, as with anything, like, there's always this risk associated with anything, and especially with something like this. Like, I work here, and I'm obviously very involved and incentivized for it to do well, but I also know that throughout my career there have been cases where I expect things to go well and they don't, right? So I put in a lot of my own money working on something, and then it doesn't work out and I have to shut it down. So that's a 0% return on my investment. So that can always happen, and of course we don't want that to be the case, but what we'll be doing is working very hard to do various different things to ensure that we're doing well. Not only are we providing utility, but also that the price reflects that, right? So I hope that people can support us and put their faith and trust in us, and we'll do our best.
Thank you for that, and really appreciate your time today for spending it with explaining all the things that we discussed today to the community. That was really good. Again, I'm gonna reemphasize on the point that I'm extremely interested in the training of the AI agent tutorial for the community. I would love to be involved in that because I believe my community would love to learn more about it. It's educational. It's it creates more developers for you as well, like more users for you, but at the same time it'll improve some people's lives because they're learning new skills, and it'll help them develop in this new evolution of AI agents. So and you're at the forefront of it. So thanks again for your time, Matthew. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you.
Yes, I enjoyed it as well. Thank you.
مشروع ايجنت لاير هو بنى تحتية لعملاء الذكاء الاصطناعي. هدفه يجذب المطورين والأشخاص العاديين ليستخدموا التول كيت تبعه ليبنوا عملاء للذكاء الاصطناعي. شخصيا وقت بدي استثمر بمشاريع الذكاء الاصطناعي بفضل دايما استخدم البنى التحتية. ليه؟ لأنه البنى التحتية ما بتتأثر بمشروع معين أو عملة معينة. يمكن يكون في عدة عملاء بعضهم يفشل وبعضهم ينجح، أنت ما بتتأثر فيهم، بس بتتأثر بالمطلق لأنه عم يتم استخدام البنى التحتية. لذلك دايما أنا بحبذ البنى التحتية. من ناحية ايجنت لاير، حكيت مع الرئيس التنفيذي للمشروع انه بركي بنقدر نعمل تيوتوريالز معينين او محتوى تعليمي معين للمجتمع العربي، نعلمه كيف يستخدموا كيف نقدر نعمل ايجنت لاير او عملاء للذكاء الاصطناعي بطريقه سهله، ونعلم المجتمع هالامر لنساهم بتطوير المجتمع. بانتظار رده اذا هالامر بهمه، ولكن هيدا برايي اذا حصل او تمت الموافقه عليه رح يكون كتير ايجابي للمجتمع العربي. خلينا نحكي عن المشروع بشكل عام. أول شيء توكونومكس. عدد العملة بالتداول هو 32% من العملة بس بالتداول. هذا أمر أثار خوفي، وسألته هالسؤال للرئيس التنفيذي قلت له هذا امر بخوف كتير من المستثمرين لانه بيخافوا يصير في ضم بعدين عليهم وكل هالامور التضخم الكبير اللي رح يصير. قال لي شغلتين، اولا هن عم يعملوا افراجات تدريجيه يعني ما رح يتاثر على السعر بشكل كتير كبير، والشغله الثانيه عملوا حرق، نظام حرق بدأوه نهاية السنة الماضية وحرقوا مليون عملة ايجنت، وبالمستقبل رح يكملوا نظام الحرق ولا بل رح يزيدوا هالنظام بالمستقبل مما رح يدفع بسعر العملة صعودا. سعر العملة وقت بلشوا الحرق وصل لقيمته وقت أعلنوا عن نظام الحرق وصل ل 0.09 قبل ما يرتد، حاليا سعرها 0.042. هلا غير هيك بدنا نحكي شوي عن المشروع بشكل عام. المشروع مبني على شبكة بيس. شبكة بيس للي ما بيعرف هي الشبكة المملوكة من منصة كوين بيس الأمريكية، أهم منصة بأمريكا. حتى بتغريداتهم عم بيفرجوا اللوجو تبع ايجنت لاير، يعني هو ضمن نظامهم البيئي تبع الذكاء الاصطناعي. بيس هي اهم لاير 2 على الايثيريوم حاليا، واكثر الناس عم تستخدمها بسبب علاقتها مع منصه كوين بيس، وكمان هذا مؤشر ايجابي للمشروع. بيس من اهم الشبكات. طيب غير هيك خلينا نحكي عن خارطه الطريق. خارطة الطريق فيها عدة أمور. خلينا أول شيء نطلع نحكي عن إدراج مشروع جديد تحتهم اسمه بامب ايجنت. بامب ايجنت رح يتم ادراجه قريبا. هو شبيه ببامب دوت فان لعملات الميم كوينز اللي شهد فومه كبير، ولكن هذا لعملاء الذكاء الاصطناعي. بدهم يعملوا لكم طريقه سهله جدا او تول كت معينه كثير سهله لاي شخص يقدر يدخل يوصل محفظته ويبني عملاء للذكاء الاصطناعي بطريقه كثير سهله. رح يتم اطلاقها قريبا جدا بالربع الاول من هالسنه. رح نعلن عنه على تويتر او على يوتيوب، رح نعلن عن هيدا الاطلاق. هذا برايي رح يجذب مستخدمين ويجذب مطورين كتير. الشغله الثانيه بالربع الاول والربع الثاني رح يكون في جلوبال ليستنج اكسبانشنز، يعني ادراجات عالميه، توسع بالادراجات العالميه. حاليا ايجنت لاير مدرجه على بترو، في عده جوائز على التداول هونيك. ولكن بعد التغريده اللي شفتها اليوم يلي هن عم يحكوا فيها عن توسع نحو اوروبا، بعتقد اول ادراجات رح نشوفها بالفتره المقبله، اللي قالنا بفتره كتير قريبه مقبل الرئيس التنفيذي حكينا بالمقابله، قال لي يعني عم نحكي انا برايي بظرف اسابيع رح نشهد ادراجات على الارجح على منصات اوروبيه. ولكن بعدها رح يكون في ادراجات على تير 1 اكسشينجز. تير 1 اكسشينجز يعني منصات من الدرجه الاولى، يعني عم نحكي اول 5 ل 10 منصات بالعالم. يعني عم تحكوا بين ما بعرف اي وحده، بين كوين بيس، باينانس، اوكي اكس، بيت جيت، باي بيت. هالمنصات يلي بينعدوا من الاوائل بالعالم. اذا حصل هالامر ووفيوا بكل الوعود اللي عم يحكوها، انا برايي هالامر رح يكون يؤدي ايجابيا لسعر عمله ايجنت. حاليا سعر مشروع ايجنت لاير هو 4 سنتس. وقت سألت الرئيس التنفيذي وين بتشوف سعر مشروع ايجنت لاير من هلا لنهايه السنه، حكينا انه هو بيشوفه قريب على الدولار. خلينا نكون متحفظين مثل ما نحن دايما بقناة بدوي كريبتو. نطلع على الماركت كاب للعملة هو 14 مليون، يعني ماركت كاب صغير جدا وفي يتحرك بسرعة. إذا تمت الوعود اللي عاملين لنا إياها وخارطة الطريق وقدروا يجذبوا مستخدمين ومطورين، أنا بشوف 10 إكس من هون سهلة جدا لأنه الماركت كاب هالقد صغير. إذا كمل الحرق، إذا تمت الإدراجات على عدة منصات أوروبية ومنصات من الدرجات الأولى، وكمان عملوا تطبيق ايجنت فان، هاي الامور برايي رح تقدر تجذب مستخدمين وتجذب مستثمرين جداد رح يعلوا سعر العمله بسرعه. منا نصيحه استثماريه، اكيد اعملوا دراستكم الخاصه. انا عم لكم رايي وشو اللي عم شوفوا بالمشروع. احكوا لي رايكم بالتعليقات بالاسفل، وانا بشوفكم قريبا اذا الله راد فيديو جديد وماركت ابديت جديد. ثانك يو.